What up? It's Montague, your friendly neighborhood shaman and community herbalist. Welcome to A Root Awakening. Today, we're going to be talking about the coronavirus. Coronavirus has a lot of people flipping out. I went to a play the other night and I tried to give somebody a handshake and they said, "Nah, bro, we do elbows now." I'm like, oh man, I need to do a video because it's not time for the elbows. Now more than ever, we need that love, and so, but we also need education. We also need information around this coronavirus that's going to bring about a sense of love and something that's going to take away from the sense of fear and paralysis that a lot of people are feeling. So, and I might do a couple more of these videos, but I just want to hit some of the basics for those of you who are wondering what is really going on here. And so let's start with, what is the coronavirus? Well, the coronavirus is a family of viruses. It's not just one thing. Thing's been around for a long time, okay? Just in different forms. Matter of fact, we had the first SARS virus in 2002, which is a type of coronavirus, okay? And SARS stands for severe acute respiratory syndrome. So it wreaks havoc on the lungs and the immune system. Okay. The other big one hit was 2012. Okay, with the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS. It was another coronavirus that hit in 2012. Okay. So the coronavirus we have now is called SARS-CoV-2. Okay, which literally means SARS coronavirus 2. This is the second edition. It's stronger. It's an RNA virus that is very smart and has adapted and changed its makeup to come back and hit us hard. All right. But we're watching this thing sort of spread in its beginning stages, and there's still nothing to necessarily panic about. It's just time to get informed. Now, a lot of people are wondering, hey, well, why are some people calling it COVID-19? Well, SARS-CoV-2 is the actual pathogen or the virus itself, and COVID-19 is the infection. Okay, so I know that's confusing for a lot of people. They're like, why would they call it two different things? But we nicknamed the whole thing the coronavirus. And COVID-19 stands for coronavirus, disease 2019, because that's when it was discovered in China, December of 2019. So moving on, it's called the coronavirus because the virus itself looks like a sun with like a radiant sun to a lot of people. And to the scientists that look at it, it kind of has the shape, sort of a solar type shape to it with little rays coming out of it. And so it was named after the sun, which is corona, And there's about 24 different strains within the corona family. And only about 7 are able to hurt human beings. All right. And one of those 7 is the coronavirus that we're dealing with today. As far as its deadliness, it's about 23 times more deadly than the flu virus. But it's not as widespread as the flu virus at this time, which has definitely killed way more people than the coronavirus. As a matter of fact, more people die from selfies. I believe it's like one of the number 2 causes of death is people walking and getting hit by cars, or walking into a hole or something like that from taking selfies. More people die from selfies than from a lot of other things. But how does this thing spread? It spreads through the droplets of the air. Okay, so that's why in the news, a lot of people are like, cover your mouth, wash your hands. They don't have a whole lot of different ways to stop this thing because it's actually pretty new for the Western medical world. It also can survive on surfaces for about an hour or so. So you definitely, if you have it, you definitely want to wash off surfaces as well. Okay. And I also want to give a big shout out to Stephen Buhner. He's put out some good information. Sharona Thompson, she's put out some great information as well. So continue to do your research, read a lot of different things. I think the next thing I want to talk about is, what does this coronavirus do? Well, in its initial stage, basically, it's getting into those lungs and it's replicating itself. All right. And so it's getting in there and it's shifting things. It's changing things to where your own immune system starts working against you. It starts taking over your lungs and starts making the chemical messengers create a chaotic state, which is more hospitable to the virus to be comfortable. And it also destroys the little hairs that help you to be able to get rid of fluid that starts to build up in your lungs. Okay. And that's actually phase 2, which is where, the immune response and the is like super inflated. It's so hot and so there's a lot of swelling and there's a lot of water building up and a lot of mucus building up in the lungs, and that can be very dangerous, and which can lead to severe lung damage. Okay. And once again, it damages the little hairs that you need to cough that stuff up. So you wanna get out of this virus as soon as you can. All right. So also, let's talk about some symptoms. Most people that catch this thing will think they just have a cold. Most people like, oh, I have this little cold, or I have the flu. It's not gonna feel really deadly for most people. Matter of fact, most people that have it think they have the flu until they get checked out. It's not like, oh, coronavirus, I'm dying. It's not like that, for everybody. Some people have a bad cough. A lot of people have body aches, fever, breathing issues, and so, but only about 18% of people have a severe reaction. The people who are in the most danger are anybody over the age of 60. Those are the people catching it the worst because their bodies are a lot more fragile usually. Also, people that are wrestling are people that are immunocompromised. These are people that might be on steroidal medication or people going through chemotherapy. People with diabetes as well, are at risk. People with heart disease are at risk. People with respiratory issues already, like COPD. And so it's not really hitting the kids. It's only been seen in like 2% of kids. And so, but we're talking about like 80% of people over the age of 60. But also 80% get cured with no following problems. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about people that even catch the pneumonia with it, And so keep that in mind. If it hits you, you're not an automatic, it's not automatically like you're going to get taken out. Once again, 13% of people have a severe reaction where they feel like they can't breathe or having an issue. But 6% are the people who are like in severe trouble. They're the ones who run the risk of like just lung and organ failure. All right. So how can we fight back? Well, firstly, don't stop, showing people love. Don't stop giving hugs. Don't stop, giving your daps and having soul and things like that, because that keeps the immune system up. That's that joy. That's that internal hug, well, that external hug, creating an internal hug that is basically helping you to keep your immune system happy. Like, let's keep this joyous vibe. Now when it gets into your town, you definitely want to wash your hands. You definitely want to sneeze into your elbow, what I'm saying, as they say, but those aren't the only options. People on the news, oh, just cover your mouth. And that's all we have is soap and water. There's so many more things to do that you can do to help, okay? The first thing I'd like to say is you should treat every little sickness you get. Like, you should treat everything like a potential coronavirus, because in general, the best thing you can do is just not get sick, you know. And how can you do that? We don't want to create a situation where we're just, oh, where's the vaccine? Or, oh my God, it's hopeless. We just got soap and water. No, like, what is in your arsenal today? And we want to start with some basics, okay? So first of all, we want you to wash your hands, okay? Just in general. Secondly, we want to make sure you're getting enough sleep so that the liver is functioning at its highest levels. This is not a good time for you to be just super stressed out and not trying to do any self-care, you know. And this also it's a bad time to be missing a lot of sleep, because both of those things lower your immune system function, okay? We also need hydration, all right? For dehydrated people, it makes you more susceptible to the illness, all right? So remember that, because you need fluid in order to keep things in motion and to keep things running properly, okay? Think about your pancreatic enzymes and your bile and your stomach acid and your blood. All this stuff is highly functioning when there's water, okay? That's how your body communicates internally, is through water and liquid flowing, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? Also, we want to eat good, healthy, high mineral foods, and eat a lot of warming foods, things that keep you warm inside. You got to consider that the viruses love a very cold and depressed internal climate. And a lot of us are depressed internally. That's why we got to run to the coffee in the morning to try to rev us up. We got to run to the sugar to keep us going. But all those things have a moment where they make us crash, and they bring the temperature of the body a lot lower. So you want to lower your sugar intake. You want to lower your caffeine intake. You don't want things that are going to take you up and make you crash. And if you're hooked on those things, you want some minerals to supplement that. Like most Americans are magnesium deficient or zinc deficient. These are things that are going to help stimulate the immune system so that you're not just a sitting duck, okay? You don't want to be a sitting duck. We want to fortify you. We want to create an environment internally where disease doesn't even want to get in. It can't get in, okay? Also, drink hot ginger tea, you know, or have some fire cider. Sharona, my neighbor, she talked a lot about fire cider, and it's really easy to make. Chop up some ginger, you know, chop up some onions, chop up some garlic, some horseradish, put some cayenne in a jar, and then just pour apple cider vinegar over that. Screw it on and just let it sit until an emergency hits, because you're going to want to warm up those insides and create an environment where it's easy for you to get that infected phlegm out of your system, all right? You also want to drink hot teas, you know, and go with like some rosemary and some thyme, stuff like that that's going to tonify the lungs. Another thing you want to do is exercise. You want to keep that body in motion, keep things moving, whether it's stick fighting whenever you get the chance, whether it's hitting the gym, whether it's doing some aerobics, just doing something to keep that motion, okay? Once again, viruses love a stagnant internal state, okay? So they can just crawl in while your little soldiers are just asleep to the side, okay? You don't want your insides to be asleep. You want things awake. You want it hot, all right? Another thing is yoga, okay? Why yoga? For many reasons. One, because it's like a spiritual conduit. It's like a living prayer. That's one. But on the other hand, it's for that lymphatic system. You know, these areas where you sweat really easily, like the armpits, all the folds in your body, places like your groin where you sweat really easily. These are places where your body gets rid of a lot of toxins, okay? And the lymphatic system needs to be in motion, and these things need to be squeezed. These need to be stretched. You know, the body needs to be put in different positions so that your immunity will have a place to push these wastes out, okay? You don't want stagnation in your lymphatic system, all right? Also, getting sunlight's going to be great, okay? The sun, once again, another warming principle, all right? Hot yoga, I'd recommend that too, to get that heat underneath the skin. I would recommend prayer, add a spiritual element. You know, go to an area in your house, you know, and call in those spirits, you know, pray to those Pray to those essences that bring in the healing energies, because we need that in general. I mean, start a practice today. If you don't have a practice, do something that opens you up. Just like when you pray before you eat, you got to have some prayer and some spirituality to your medicine. We don't need to just pray when we eat. We need to pray for our medicine, because when you pray, it's telling the body, hey, get ready. Let's open up and receive this medicine, okay? And so those are some of the basics, all right? Just remember that coronavirus is like, well, viruses in general are billions of years old, okay? So they've been evolving and doing their dance for much longer than we have. Look at, you compare a billion years to 200 years of Western medicine, you know, in the form it's in now. I bet even 50 years of having a good treatment for viruses, you know. So look at the difference. We are babies in this. So who do we need to go to? Well, one great place to go to is someone else who's been on the earth way longer than us. Someone who's been on the earth for about 1 billion years is the plants, the herbs. And one of my favorite one is echinacea, a good, strong echinacea tincture, okay? Tincture bottles, for those that don't know, are like little dropper bottles where you can just put it on the tongue. It's great. As soon as you feel the first little itch of anything, you want to do a full squirt of echinacea right on the tongue, all right? Or right in the back of the throat, you know. And you should feel the tingling, if you don't feel tingling from your echinacea, a good strong tingling, almost like hydrogen peroxide, then you have a really weak echinacea, and it's not something I recommend. You know, there's a really good quality tincture at Sprouts called Echinacea 3 that I like to use, but it's amazing, okay? So any type of echinacea, you know, squirt it on the back. And I'm talking about a good, strong alcoholic tincture, squirt it there, and it'll start to correct the tissues. It also stimulates blood flow, but it's very cleansing, and it's also very antiviral and antimicrobial, okay? So remember that echinacea is something that you can even do preparatory. You can do echinacea before you go out to eat. You can do a little echinacea before you go into a large crowd. You know, there's a lot of ways to use it. But I think it's a great first responder when you start feeling some sort of acute little itch that just feels off, all right? Another thing to do is you can cook with astragalus. Astragalus is a great before you get sick herb. So do the astragalus if you can. Add it to your broths, you know, take some of the tincture, you know, just in general as a tonic, as a daily tonic. Ginseng, especially for the older people who are frail, you know, to add an extra layer of strength to you. It keeps things in motion and keeps your energy up and raises your prana, you know, helps your agni. So try a little bit of ginseng as well. For folks that have a weak heart or feel like they have some sort of heart condition, look into some hawthorn, or some cinnamon tea on a daily basis. Get those cinnamon chips. Put them in some boiling water and be drinking that daily, and then do some drops of hawthorn just as a preparatory for this coronavirus or any type of sickness that could hit you this year. Bone set is great to restore the lungs. You know, look at some eucalyptus essential oil that you can rub on the bottoms of your feet. That's another great one. It'll come right through your feet. You know, you'll smell like eucalyptus, but on the other hand, though, it's going to clean out that blood. You know, you're going to feel it really, really creating some motion within the bloodstream and getting things motion and getting you in motion and getting things warmed up. Okay. A really good one's elder. You know, some people claim that the elder is going to be good for sort of blocking the virus being able to hook on. But I feel like echinacea does that really well as well. Mullein is great for helping the quality of your cough to go higher. Look into some mullein leaf, you know, to tonify those lungs. And also, if you have a cough, once again, it creates a better high quality cough where you're coughing up more phlegm, you know, because once again, with the coronavirus, it can start to destroy those hairs that give you the capacity to be able to really get that stuff out of the lower lungs. So I just really want you to keep those in mind. three more herbs I really want to hit on really quick is red raspberry leaf, because it's really, these are ones that you might want to do every day, just period. Okay, these three particular herbs as a tea, just as a daily tonic, is amazing. Red raspberries, high in vitamin C, high in tannins to help keep the lungs nice and firm and tight. Tones the tissues of the mucosa, and it also works against diarrhea, which also can come from the coronavirus as well. Also nettles, remember those high minerals, it's a high mineral herb. And so you want those high minerals because it's going to keep the body at a proper temperature, while also making sure you have a foundation for all of the body's processes to work properly. And we also like nettles because it has a high lung affinity. It goes right to those lungs and starts working on them right away. And it's anti-inflammatory, which is another symptom that comes with the coronavirus. And so we want to get the nettles and get the red raspberry into you. The last one I'm gonna bring up really briefly before we close is holy basil. Okay, we want the holy basil because, once again, drinking holy basil is like a prayer in itself. Okay, it's like drinking that holy guardian angel to be in there and warm you up. It's warming and it's sweet, and it's gonna really get the internals of you hot and waking up those inner soldiers and telling that immune system, like, yo, let's stay ready. Okay, it's also an expectorant, helping you to get out the phlegm. It's good for immunomodulation, keeping the immune system moving in a proper way. It's been used in Thailand and all these places to reduce asthma and help breathing all over the world. And it's also a stress reducer. So, as a matter of fact, with Jirodon Apothecary, we actually have a tea that has red raspberry, nettles, and holy basil in it, called Bear Strength. Oh, that's not Bear Strength, but this is Belly. But actually, here's Bear Strength. I picked up the wrong one. But this is a great tea you could have daily. Just add hot water, let it sit for 15 minutes. It would be great for you if you have fears about your lungs being strong, about your immune system being strong. So if you're doing this along with getting to sleep regularly, having a good diet, and exercising, you have a better chance than those who don't. Us herbalists, or people who know about herbs, have basically more weapons at our disposal. We don't have to wait on some sort of hospital to come up with something. There's so many things out here that we can try. So continue to do your research, and thank you for tuning in. Bless you.